And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Come on, everybody. Here we go.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Film Box Podcast, Summer Fun Edition. I'm your host, Aaron Souza, and joined with me today are two twins that were separated at birth and then came together on one fateful day at summer camp to find out that they were in fact twins living across the world. It's Connor and Sam. How you guys doing?
What?
Hello.
Whoa!
Greetings.
Spoilers!
You're not my dad.
Oh, man. Well, today we're talking about The Parent Trap, continuing our Summer of Fun series. It's the last month of our Summer of Fun, and we're doing movies that have that summer vibe, so naturally you go with The Parent Trap when you have that sort of category. But yeah, but before we get into all of that, guys, what have you been watching lately, and what are you drinking?
I can go first. I am back on my bullshit. So kick things off. I think the last thing I said was Inception, so Perfect Blue, knocking off my list. That I was so confused. It took me too long to get into it. That's my fault. Watched Trap, not The Parent Trap.
Oh, you did a Trap double feature.
So far apart though. And that movie is so much fun because it is the worst dialogue I've ever heard in a movie.
Really?
It's atrocious. But so funny. Saw Portrait of a Lady on Fire. That was awesome. Heartbreaking. Another heartbreaker, The Farewell, also on the list. And for the first time in a while, completely knocked out my watch list. I'm at a net zero. I watched Sound of Metal.
Wow.
That movie, I think it's vaulted into my top 25. That movie is fucking incredible.
Really?
Oh my god,
Really?
yeah. It's so good. Let's see, I watched It Ends With Us with my beautiful girlfriend Erin, and so we saw it with early access, and I guess at our theater, early access means we are going to show this movie right on the dot. Once again, we showed up late.
Nice.
So we missed a solid 15 minutes.
Well, I'll tell you what, you didn't miss much.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Then I watched Daddy-O because I wanted to try to watch some more movies that came out this year. I thought it was all right. And then
I saw you didn't like it as much as I did.
Yeah, well, first off, I accidentally reviewed it twice. Second,
Nice.
Yeah, there's just something off about. It just felt weird the way that Sean Penn and Dakota Johnson were talking. Like, I get it. It's the whole dynamic of the old grizzled guy versus, the young woman, but they respect each other over the course of the night. But it just felt weird. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. That's fair.
Yeah.
It's a fair assessment.
And then The Parent Trap. I don't know if I said that.
Yeah, you did.
Cool.
Well, no, you didn't, but we know you watched The Parent Trap.
I actually did not watch The Parent Trap. I actually watched the wrong Parent Trap.
Nice.
Was it the 1961 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. This review is going to be so wild for Connor.
You know what's so funny? When I was driving to the movies last night, and I told Aaron that we were gonna watch The Parent Trap, and she thought we were gonna watch that meant Freaky Friday. She's like, "Oh,
Oh my
like
God.
the new one that just came out, or like, oh, because they're making a new one." And I was like,
No.
I don't think they're making a new one. I think that's Freaky Friday. But honestly,
Nice.
I get confused with Lindsay Lohan movies from the 90s and 2000s.
I mean, they're all the same. They're all the same.
I mean, this could have been Herbie Fully Loaded for all I know.
Okay. Sam, what about you? What have you been watching?
Yeah. I was, I think the last one I watched was Chef, which obviously we did the review on. Then the next movie I watched, I just wanted a nice, good, feel good movie. So I watched How to Train Your Dragon, the first one.
Nice.
And that's like
Good
one
one.
of the best animated films I've ever seen. And then I also just wanted to knock some movies off my watch list, so I watched Taken, Liam Neeson.
Have you not seen Taken before?
Not the full thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen Taken before, but it surprises me that you haven't seen Taken before.
Why? Because of my solo action spy
Yeah,
films.
it just seems like a movie that you'd be on top of.
Yeah. No, I mean I've seen parts of it, but I haven't actually
You get
seen
the
the
gist
whole
of
thing
it.
through. You know.
Basically, all you need to watch is the phone call scene, and you kind of know the movie.
which is like in the first like 20 minutes. So
Yeah.
Listen, there's 2 sequels. I think he gets his daughter back.
We'll find you.
Then I watched Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox, the animated film where Flash is like thrown into another universe where the whole Justice League is like different.
Yeah.
So he has to like try to work with them to return the actual timeline kind of thing.
Did you like
It
it?
was really good. I
Ah.
really liked it. Yeah, I think I gave it like a 4.5. I really liked it.
I forget what I gave it. I don't think I was that high on it, but I
I
did
think
think
you
it was
it
good.
looks like you gave it a 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I did like it a lot, just
Not as much.
to of a degree.
And then I finally watched 12 Angry Men.
Hey.
Great movie. One of the best I've ever seen.
That was a great movie.
I mean, it's incredible what they were able to do in one room.
Oh yeah.
That is insane.
Kind of it's like it makes me think of these like one room, one scene movies. Like Hateful Eight too. Like that movie is just great.
Rope is the same.
Mm.
The Room.
That's
Or is it Room? No, it's Room. It's just Room with Brie Larson.
I was gonna say the room does not take place. in
The
a room.
Room. The Room is the bad one. The Room is the Tommy Wiseau one.
And then,
That's something that we should review or do a watch along of. We should do The Room.
I did not hit her. I did not hit her. I did not.
I did not.
Oh,
hi,
hi,
Mark. That would be a legendary movie to. All right, we're doing it. We're doing it.
Book it. He made a
And then
shark movie, and I don't know whatever happened to it. Not to cut you off,
Well,
Sam. Oh,
Now I have to find out.
Tommy Wiseau Big Shark is what it's called.
Big Shark in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
It actually came out. It has an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
yeah, but that's also Rotten Tomatoes.
But still,
Look how bad it looks. It looks worse than fucking Sharknado.
Well, duh. It's Tommy freaking Wiseau.
the Tommy Wiseau.
I like that the entire plot is up, though. If I wanted to
That's
now,
so funny.
if I didn't want to watch it, and I could just read it,
Yeah.
but I won't.
Sometimes that's the best, though. I love reading movie plots. All right. Anyways, continue.
And then I watched The Parent Trap.
All right. So I watched 3 movies this week. I watched It Ends With Us, which was awful, and we'll circle back to that in a second. I watched Open Range, which is, I don't know if you are familiar with Open Range. It's a Western directed by Kevin Costner and starring Kevin Costner and Robert Duvall and a very young Diego Luna. And it's phenomenal. It's one of my favorite Westerns of all time. And then I watched The Parent Trap. So, pretty basic for me. But Connor, I think we need to talk about It Ends With Us. Because we started talking about it before the podcast.
Yeah.
But my review, if you're listening to this, my review is live. I did not like it at all. I hated it. And I initially hated it even more while I was writing the review than right after I had seen it, which kind of bumped my score down a little bit more. But
I think I hate it more reading all the stuff that's been happening behind the scenes. Because apparently, so it's based off the book by Colleen Hoover, who has her own shit that, like, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, be my guest.
It's a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah. Apparently, so it's Jacob Baldoni. He directs it. He's the guy who plays the antagonist, I guess.
Yeah. One of the co-stars.
The first love interest, who, if you've read the book, is the bad guy. So he directs it, and apparently, like, Ryan Reynolds just hijacked the entire movie. And apparently they have not only have they hijacked the movie and, like, directed it themselves, like him, Hugh Jackman, and Blake Lively. They're like, the entire promotion they've been doing is for, like, Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, they have not even talked about the movie.
Well, I think too that they probably realized that the movie's a piece of shit.
Well, that was the thing too, because they wanted this to be like Blake's opportunity for an Oscar. So that's why they got as involved as they did.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. She's really not good in it at all. I did not like her performance.
That was the thing too.
All.
Aaron told me, I haven't read the book. I'm gonna read it. She's supposed to be like 23 in the book.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I had heard snippets of, like, she's supposed to be young or whatever, and I was like, she's not. I mean,
like 40.
Blake Lively looks amazing.
Yeah.
She's not 23, and these characters act like they're very young too. So I was like, what's going on?
It's like Dear Evan Hansen, where it's like, hey,
yeah,
what's his name? Ben Platt.
No clue.
Yeah, he's like 30, but he's trying to be in high school still.
Yeah, right. It's like, doesn't work. I had a lot of issues with it. I mean, I know the book. I didn't read the book beforehand. I really didn't know a lot about the book, but I kind of got a sense from watching the trailer of how it was going to go. I did not expect it to dive so heavily into domestic violence. But also, and I don't know if you got this vibe, but I got the vibe while I was watching it that they were, like, teetering on the edge of, like, victim blaming / like abuser apologist. Like, they were, like, riding that edge. Like, is she gonna take him back? Like, is she gonna, did this stuff actually happen? Like, riding, and I was like, this is sickening to me. I hated it.
Well, I did like that, because the scene of, like, her coming to the realization, like, oh, he did hit me. He did push me down the stairs. I did like that, because it's like, okay, you do have, like, your rose-colored glasses on. You missed the red flags.
Right. My problem with that is that this movie's 2 hours and 10 minutes long, and that realization comes at, like, 1 hour 45.
Hour 40
into the movie. Hour 40 in. It comes in, like, almost to the end of the movie, and it's like, we spend, like, I literally have in my notes while I was watching that movie, I was like, Ralph seems like a pretty decent dude. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. And then it was like this 180 heel turn, and I was like, this needed to be way earlier.
No, that's something I was talking to Aaron about too. As we were driving back, I was like, I feel like up until that point, I was like, oh, like, yeah, she did fall down the stairs. Like, honestly, he's been pretty, like, rational, supportive. I guess. Not even rational, but, he's been, like, it's been normal. Like, yeah, he got mad that she had another man's phone number, like, hidden in her phone case. Sorry for the spoilers, but like, we'd be mad. And then it's like, oh, actually, no, he did slap her. No, he did push her down the stairs and almost, assaulted her. It's like,
it was just And even at the end of the movie, like they really leaned into like, is she gonna take him back, guys? Is she gonna? Is she gonna take him back? Nope. It was like really, really playing into that a little bit too much. I was like, this is not no.
Not gonna
But
lie.
I'll tell you what, I got the funniest part of this movie, and I know again we're kind of spoilery for It Ends With Us, but it, 2 moments in the movie. One, I watched this at a screening in Boston that was combined critics and fans. First off, all the fans, all white chicks, like in their 20s, every single one. Like all of the public was all like young white females, which to be expected for this type of movie. But there's a line in the movie where like I think it was Atlas goes like, "Oh, everything's better in Boston." And one dude in the theater, because I'm watching it in Boston at a critic screening, one dude in the theater goes, "Huh?" And the whole theater started laughing, and it was so good. But then, and I put this in my review, but like you could sum up this whole movie by the fact that at the end of the movie, there is a very serious scene after she gives birth that is like totally serious, total whatever. All the dialogue is serious. One line comes out from that scene, my entire theater burst out laughing.
Is it the I want
That it is. I think it was that part.
Oh, because I also had a similar experience where first off everyone was like recording the screen at the end, like with their flash on, which was so weird. It's like just
That's annoying.
no, you get down.
Cat.
Yeah,
Why would they be recording it?
I don't know.
It's what people do nowadays. It's fucking stupid.
But so she's she's monologuing. She's like, as she's holding her baby, she's like, "It's just you and me." And I turn to Aaron. I go, "It ends with us." And then she says, "It ends with us." And I just turn to her and I go, "That's the name of the movie." And when we start cracking up, and I squeaked like I was laughing so hard. And then we were out by after that point. Like there was no coming back.
It's so funny. That line wasn't even the line that people laughed at in the theater for me. Like, but it was legitimate. Like she was delivering this very serious like monologue, whatever, or talking with Ryle, very serious. And then she said something, and the whole theater just was like laughing. It was like, okay, this is the kind of movie that we're watching.
Yeah, I think I know which line it is because our theater also like started laughing at that.
But anyways, yeah, I didn't like it at all. You can read my review about it. I think, people who enjoyed the book will probably like it a lot more than I did, but as a movie, it was not good. But anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about The Parent Trap. But first, before we do that, we got to play a little game. You guys, we're doing the movie grid today?
Yes.
Let's play a little game.
All right. You want to play a game?
I'll play a game with you.
We haven't done a grid in a while, so if you're just tuning in, you haven't heard us play in a while. It's basically a 3x3 grid where you have to match the row categories versus the column categories. So up top we have title containing Q, Z, J, X, or K. Title starts with A through H, and double letter word in title. And
interesting.
Our rows are Bradley Cooper, Toni Collette, and Jared Leto.
Yep.
So
what is the Bradley Cooper one that's like the heist movie? Is it it's American Gangster, is it? Is that the one that it's called?
American Gangster or Hustle?
American Hustle, that's the one.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
American Gangster is that's Denzel.
That's Denzel.
And Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Did that here. American Hustle. Are we sure it's him?
Oh yeah, I know for sure he's in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. 9.5.
Bingo, 9.5.
Tony,
that's not bad.
Toni Collette, we could do for double letter. We could do Mafia Mama.
Oh my god. There's no way that people know that movie exists.
More than
What?
American Hustle. It's a 12.1.
12%. That's crazy.
All right.
Let's see. I mean, obviously, the obvious one for Jared Leto is Suicide Squad for the double letter.
Where?
Don't know if there's any. What?
Where?
What do you mean, where?
Double letter means it has to be back to back, like Mama has. Not-
double
it's-
letter word.
Not like,
Oh, I get it. I get it.
yeah.
I get it.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought it was
Okay.
like both
Sorry.
words start with the same letter. That's my bad.
No, I should.
I was
I,
sitting there
if
like,
that's the-
what do you mean where?
If that's the case, we can do Blade Runner 2049.
we could.
Yeah, we could do Blade Runner.
That's right. Yeah, I feel like
could
that
do-
one's gonna be high
Could
though.
do Dallas Buyers Club,
Dallas. That's what I was just thinking.
House of Gucci.
I think Dallas. Oh, House of Gucci's a
Ooh,
good
I forgot
poll.
about that movie. Yeah.
House of Gucci is a great poll.
Just because it'll 13%.
What?
It'll pop up on my feed from time to time of people. I think it's him screaming, cut to like a taxi cab.
Mm-hmm. Title contains a QZJ, X, or K.
For Jared Leto, we could do Requiem for a Dream.
I like that.
It's definitely going to be the highest, but I literally can't think of another.
I can't think of any other ones.
Yeah, 33%. So we had one
33%.
more, I guess.
Trying to think of Bradley Cooper movies that I actually know.
I'll just finish off Jared Leto while you think. And I'm going to do Haunted Mansion.
Nice.
Fuck, is
that's
it
right.
the Haunted Mansion?
Is it the Haunted Mansion or Haunted Mansion?
I'm gonna take a guess and just say no.
Oh, I don't know about that. Oh,
Leave.
wow. I mean, you could just do Hereditary for Toni Collette.
I mean, that's gonna be what, like 100%.
Wait, HRG.
Wait, HEFG.
I'm
No,
glad
okay,
you also have to spell out the alphabet too, because I was thinking Little Miss Sunshine, and I was like, HIJKL.
Oh, I was thinking Knives Out.
We'll do Hereditary. Yeah,
I
77.
mean, Knives Out is going to be the one that Knives Out can be the one for QZJXK.
Yeah. 44%.
44%.
All right, Bradley Cooper.
It's all right. We're going for 100. We're going for all of them. So,
She's
Bradley
just
Cooper.
Not that into you. No.
Bradley Cooper. There was a movie about fuck, what was it?
Wait, did you say she's just not that into you?
Yeah.
That works for the first one. There's a J in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whoops. Oh. She's
Oh.
Just a shadow.
right.
There's one.
Just-
Is that-
Oh.
Or is it he's? I think
He's-
it's he's
it might
not.
be he's just
not that into.
he's
you.
just not that into you. What about
3.6%.
What movie is that? Shit. I'm trying to think. Oh, Limitless. Limitless.
Oh, wait. We just reviewed this movie. What is the one?
Wet Hot American Summer. Yeah.
Yeah, Wet Hot American Summer. That works. What was yours, Sam?
Limitless. It came out like 10 years ago. Or so.
Oh, that could be a good one though.
I feel like
either one of these is gonna be
just
decent.
because I already have it typed out. Wet Hot American
Okay.
Summer, 8.5%.
8.5%. Yay, we got 9 out of 9. Oh my god, Silver Linings Playbook. How do we not get that?
All right, so they added least popular too. So
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
most popular Bradley Cooper across the board: Silver Linings Playbook, A Star Is Born, Silver Linings Playbook, Toni Collette, Knives Out, Hereditary, Little Miss Sunshine, and Jared Leto was Suicide Squad, Fight Club, and Dallas Buyers Club. For the least popular, we did get He's Just Not That Into You, just in the wrong spot.
Mm-hmm.
So good
0%.
on us. Almost.
Geez, some of these people are crazy at this game. Like, I don't know.
It's like that dude.
Basically, all of those movies.
Well, they probably cheat.
Well, that too, yeah. It's probably like that dude who you know that guy who does the where he could just like look at a picture of like a desert.
The GeoGuessr dude. Yeah,
it's just like, oh, Tony Collette or Bradley Cooper, my little lie.
It's like, okay, they just know that. That's fine.
Yeah, it's like, oh damn,
I feel like we did pretty good.
We did for us. We're good.
Yeah. All right. Well, are you guys ready to talk about Parent Trap?
I think I am.
Think so?
I think so.
All right. Well, then let's talk about the Parent Trap.
Oh, I
I 100% also said the Parrot Trap and not the Parent Trap on accident,
I didn't
but that's
hear it.
okay.
You could have just rolled with it.
That's all right. That's all right. All right. So, The Parent Trap is a 1998 American romantic comedy film directed by Nancy Meyers in her directorial debut. So Nancy Meyers, if you aren't familiar with her work, was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay for Private Benjamin in 1980. Her first film, Baby Boom, was nominated for the Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. And she co-wrote The Father of the Bride 1 and 2. And then wrote Parent Trap, What Women Want, Something's Gotta Give, The Holiday, It's Complicated, and The Intern. So she's made a lot of very solid movies.
Mm-hmm.
So written by David Swift, Nancy Meyers, and Charles Shire. David Swift, best known for writing and directing the 1967 film How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Don't know it. And then Charles Shire, writing and directing credits include Private Benjamin, Baby Boom, Father of the Bride Part 1 and 2. So it worked a lot with Nancy Meyers. Cinematography, starring Lindsay Lohan, Natasha Richardson, and good old Dennis Quaid, with cinematography by Dean Cundy, who's known for his collaborations with John Carpenter, Steven Spielberg, and Robert Zemeckis, and also The Parent Trap. So if you don't know, Connor, do you know Dean Cundy?
I feel like I do, yes.
You should, because he was the cinematographer for Halloween, The Fog, The Thing, Back to the Future trilogy, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Jurassic Park, Apollo 13, and, of course, most famously, Garfield the movie, 2004.
They're gonna say 2024.
No, 2004. The Bill Murray one. So he's worked he's like a legend who also happened to do The Parent Trap. Produced by Walt Disney, distributed by Buena Vista Pictures. This movie was released July 29th, 1998, and had a runtime of 128 minutes with a budget of $15 million. Guys, can you guess what it made at the box office?
I think
What was the budget again, you said?
$15 million budget.
I think it was like 98 when I looked it up. I don't think it made 100.
Nice. When I looked it up.
When I looked it up 5 minutes ago. No, I didn't actually look it up, but when I was fact checking, I thought I saw 98.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess 92,108,518. It's very specific.
That's the number. That's the number. Wow, you got it. Wow, how did you guess that on the nail? At first, I heard you say 92 million, and I was like, oh, wow, he's actually... And then you kept going. I was like, oh, we just looked it up.
Sam's
All right.
Sam's a Turkish shooter. Hand in the pocket.
Yeah.
Both eyes open.
No protection. No nothing.
Hey, yo.
No special equipment. Just
I don't
off
look
the
like
cuff.
I don't look like Chamber from Valorant.
Yep. All right, so we got to move on now to the reviews and the critical scores for this movie. Sam, do you have the scores for this movie?
Oh, of course I do.
Right.
for The Parent Trap 1998, we have an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes
Beautiful.
with a 70% audience score.
Interesting.
Very interesting. However, it's a 4.8 on Google reviews.
Damn.
Out of 5.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Just a
Okay.
cinema.
Google loves The Parent Trap, apparently.
So this review says, this film is a peek in the era that was Disney classics. A mixture of light fun, mischievous frivolity, and heartwarming, lovable characters. It is hard to believe you can find your long-lost twin sister, lose poker, skinny dip, and get your ears pierced all in one summer camp. Lindsay Lohan does a wonderful job, as does the late Natasha Richardson.
She died?
The fashion, like 2009
Oh, damn. I gotta say,
or something like that.
Yes, 18th of March, 2009.
rest in peace.
The fashion, rest in peace. The fashion this film displayed really still has a chokehold on the current trends. Side characters play their role with the charismatic Chessie, charming Martin the butler, and the wonderful villainous Meredith Blake. As a millennial, I can now very much see why she wanted in with that Napa Valley winery. A banger of a soundtrack. Watch this with your sisters or get the girl gang around for a sleepover. Joy is doubled when shared. For me, it's a 5 Oreos dipped into peanut butter kind of film, full of great little moments for any age to enjoy. 5 stars.
I agree.
Nice.
And then there's a couple of funny 1-star ones.
Oh, God.
This one says, I just don't understand on why this is a movie. I love Disney, but not this. This movie is filled with lots of bad things. For example, gambling, a girl getting naked, and many more disgusting things in it. This movie is not funny, and I recommend you watch recommend you to watch Ratatouille instead.
Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Can I interest you in ratatouille?
Oh my!
It's almost as bad as
Ratatouille.
Lomania.
Lomania. It's just so funny. I love when people do that. Where like, this movie sucks. Instead of watching this, you should watch this other movie that's completely unrelated to this. It is nowhere close to the kind of movie that this is.
And
My
then
God.
this is the funny one. This other 1-star review says, The Parent Trap is something very different. Dad is a pervert, bad. He pays a mortgage, gets a mundane job, puts up with nappy Smelly to fuck up his cutie. His ultimate goal is to fuck himself.
Connor, are you okay over there?
No, I went down the rabbit hole of like the spin-offs of like
Sorry, I did not mean to cut you off, but Connor had this look on his face of like, what the fuck?
I went down the rabbit hole of like the Pixar spin-offs, like Ratatouille is Ratatouille, and I found one that's just called Finding Jesus with fish.
That's so good. That's
Oh
so
my God.
good. Finding Jesus. All right, Sam,
All right,
you
can I
may
continue?
continue. Yes, you may continue.
I gotta close.
His ultimate goal is to fuck himself and leave a necrotic disaster behind him. Mom's only
Wait,
salvation is Oedipus Rex, or she too ends up a necrotic disaster. Ergo, The Parent Trap.
Huh? I swear, some people just type. They just spit out words and hope that they do something.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, all right, now that we've done the reviews, we've talked about the background of the movie, it's time for Connor to bring us through The Parent Trap.
Pivot to
Ratatouille.
Finding Jesus.
Yeah. This is actually a surprise review for Finding Jesus.
I saw another one called Plan B, which
Jeez.
That's so good. All right. Connor, why don't you bring us through The Parent Trap?
I thought we were doing Ratatouille this week.
Oh, man. Did I watch the wrong movie again?
yeah. So we're watching. So Freaky Friday starts. All right, now Parent Trap. In 1986, Nick Parker and Elizabeth James meet and fall in love on the Queen Elizabeth II. They eventually marry and have twin daughters, Hallie and Annie. However, they divorce shortly after the twins' birth. Nick gains custody over Hallie and raises her on his vineyard in Napa, California, while Elizabeth raises Annie in London, where she works as a wedding gown designer. Roughly 11 years, 9 months later, the twins are coincidentally sent to the same summer camp, Camp Walden, where they form an intense rivalry starting over a fencing duel and a game of poker. After Hallie and her friends perform a dangerous prank on Annie's cabin, the twins are sent to the isolation cabin, where they begin to bond over their similarities. After discovering the parallels between their eerily similar family situations, the girls show each other a photograph of their parents and realize that they are identical twins who were separated at birth. They decide to switch places to convince their parents to reconcile, whereas each girl trains the other to act like themselves.
Oh boy. Yeah, no, so the intro montage, I like. It's too long. That whole like intro of the parents meeting and like whatever, all that stuff, way too long for me. And that's going to be a recurring theme for this whole movie. If things are way too long. That said, I love everything about the summer camp. It is so good.
Yeah, so I guess before we get into the actual review, this is a movie that like I kind of grew up on, and I would watch it like a lot. I think like my parents like introduced me to this film and stuff like that. So we all watched this movie a lot, and I could have sworn they spent so much more time in the summer camp than they actually did. I don't know what it was. It's just like I felt like over half the movie was just the summer camp, but apparently not.
I wish it was, honestly. I really wish it was. Because the summer camp stuff is great, and really like that could have been the whole movie, and I would have been like, yeah, this is amazing.
Before even getting into the movie, we haven't said it before. This is introducing Lindsay Lohan. That was
introducing.
Like, obviously, everyone's got to get a start somewhere, but just seeing that now, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, and not only like introducing Lindsay Lohan, I mean, she was really good in this movie.
This is a tough thing to do for your first movie.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Playing twins, like identical twins, unbelievable, unbelievable.
And another thing what I thought when I was younger is I generally thought there was two, like she was a twin.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't hit me until I don't know when, but like that I for the first several times I saw this movie, I thought she was literally a twin, and it was.
Yeah, I did too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a testament to not only her performance, but also the way that they shoot this movie.
Oh yeah,
is like, I mean, obviously you have a legend in Dean Cundy working the camera, but like you have to be really intentional with the way you shoot this a movie like this, because you have to basically shoot everything twice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely phenomenal, and it's flawless the whole movie through. So credit there. But while we're talking about Lindsay Lohan too, because we kind of this whole intro, they bring enough of like a lead on of like, these are two different people. They're gonna meet. But like we get enough of solo time for Hallie and Annie that you see their like they have individual personalities. Like yes, they're twins and they have a lot of similarities, but they also are their own people and have a lot of individual personalities, which is again a testament to Lindsay Lohan's performance as well.
Oh yeah.
Also, just while we're on it, I just want to shout out Erin Mackey. She's the girl who played the body double whenever they were.
Yep.
That good work for her.
Great job. Yeah, great job.
If
And that is a thankless job because you don't end up actually really on screen.
No.
Except for like maybe scenes where like their back is turned.
Mm-hmm. No speaking.
But
Yeah,
like
probably,
otherwise,
yeah. Yep. If you're listening, thank you.
Shout
Yes,
out.
thank
Good
you.
job.
I like we've been kind of praising the camp stuff a lot. It's funny to me how absolutely oblivious the camp counselors are.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I think it's a theme in like every movie that's based in a summer camp of like the camp counselors do not give a shit what is going on until the prank happens and like actually catches the lead woman in the prank. So good. But like having the beds on the roof is so funny.
How?
Yeah.
How?
How? Yeah, exactly.
They are
How?
Children. They're 11-year-olds.
Yeah. Like,
How do you get that?
Clearly, it's like impossible, but it's just so funny it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But to what you guys were saying earlier, I feel like I remember more prank scenes. Like I thought there was more back and forth to it.
I thought so too, but
I mean,
we got the what do we got?
It started fencing,
poker.
I guess
poker.
like
They stole the clothes.
They stole the clothes.
Then they stole the beds, and then the big
stole the beds.
And then it
And
was
then
the big
thing.
prank that got him in trouble.
Yeah,
I
that
could have
was
sworn.
it.
I also could have sworn there was more than that.
like even smaller things, but
By the way, the fencing, really good.
oh yeah,
Like that was legit. That shit was legit. Not realistic, but legit. I just got done watching fencing at the Olympics, and like the comparison between like actual professional fencing and like the movie fencing is so different.
Oh yeah.
Like they're sitting here choreographed like ding like clash, and then you watch regular fencing and like I got you.
it's
done.
seconds. It's over.
Round's over. They'll sit there like waving the little saber around, waving. They're like, oh, I got you, and that's it. Oh, it's so good. It's so fun to watch. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I guess. So, I'm gonna expose something about me too.
Whoa.
Lindsay Lohan walking
Ooh.
into the poker scene with the sunglasses. That was my childhood crush moment. That was like,
Oh.
So was it some George Thorogood playing in the background?
I don't know what it was.
Connor was like, this is life, man.
I was like, oh.
You
so
did
good.
actually expose yourself, Ben, right?
Ew.
Ugh.
Ew.
Oh, that's not what I meant.
But I do like they get stuck in this isolation cabin, and then the movie like takes this really like emotional shift of like you get legitimate bonding, and it's like pretty well done. I'm not gonna lie, I was impressed, and also the only the beautiful Leo DiCaprio, and I was like, yeah, same.
That was
is like
your
90
awakening.
This was filmed like
guess.
what, 97 or something like that?
90, yeah, like 1997.
And like Leo was still like, I don't think Titanic has come out yet, right? So-
I think Titanic had just come out.
What?
So that's probably why they added him in.
I could be completely wrong on that. I mean, he was already pretty much a growing star at that point.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
a good-looking cat. Yeah, because Titanic came out in 97.
Excuse me, he's
Okay,
not
okay,
a
okay.
cat, he's a person.
Shut the fuck up.
If he was a cat, he'd be in the movie Cats.
Or Garfield
Or Garfield.
instead of Chris Pratt.
Oh, God. Don't even
Oh,
remind
yeah,
me.
Romeo and Juliet just came out.
Gilbert Grape,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Gilbert Grape had came out a bit before.
He was a superstar already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I also like really like how everything about the cabin, like, again, I know I've said this before, this is my favorite era of filmmaking because it's all practical. They
Mhm.
shoot at an actual summer camp,
Mhm.
and it's great. And like, it's the difference between getting a movie that looks like this and feels real and getting a movie that looks like something like Deadpool and Wolverine that just came out, which I know they're totally different movies, But that movie looks the fakest of fake. And this one looks great.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, shall we continue?
Yeah, I think we should continue.
Oh, just one last thing. Did they not shuffle the deck of cards before the poker?
I guess not.
It's just straight flushes for both of them.
Oh yes, a flush.
Like, here's
and then
a flush.
royal flush.
Here's a flush in all diamonds.
Well, here's
a royal flush in all the same cards.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Oh, and the handshake between Martin, who I haven't introduced yet, but it's Annie's butler essentially. When it had the music cued to it too, it honestly felt like I was back in like 2004 or 5 when I watched it for the first time. I was like, oh yeah. Like, I remember trying to do this with my sisters, trying to like recreate it. Couldn't do it because I just didn't have coordination. Couldn't remember anything. But just that like wave of nostalgia just hits.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
All right. Moving
on.
All right. In London, Hallie happily meets Elizabeth, the family butler Martin, and her maternal grandfather Charles, while Annie meets Nick and their family nanny Chessie in California. Much to Annie's dismay, she learns that Nick is engaged to Meredith Blake, a 26-year-old gold digger publicist from San Francisco who only wants to marry Nick for his fortune. Meredith is planning on sending Hallie to boarding school after the wedding. Annie phones Hallie and implores her to bring Elizabeth to California to try to break up Nick and Meredith, but Hallie refuses because she wants to spend more one-on-one time with Elizabeth. Want to keep going or stop?
No, we can stop there. So the first thing that I had written down, and I get it applies to both parents, and I know that they're kind of supposed to be like more involved in other things, but like, how do you not know that it's not your child?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta know that.
Yeah.
With all the hints they give too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
like when she was in the Annie was in the truck with
oh my god,
Dad, and he was like, he's questioning all these things.
Why do you keep calling me?
Like,
why do you keep saying "dad" after everything? After a sentence, the dog doesn't recognize her.
Yeah, like Hallie did a good job in England of faking it. Annie's about to let it go the second she meets her dad.
Yeah.
She's like, "I'm not real."
I wrote it down too in my notes. I said, first off, it's funny that only Annie had to make changes. Like, she had to cut her hair, she had to get her ears pierced.
Yeah.
All Hallie had to do was just learn how to fake an accent, which, I mean, Lindsay Lohan is literally doing it already, so.
Hello, governor. There you go. I got the accent.
Would you like some tea and crumpets?
Mom, can we have some tea before dinner?
But then I also put in my notes, British Lindsay Lohan sucks at her job. She is selling hard.
Yeah, she really. I mean, literally, it's like from the moment she gets in that truck, she's like, I am not going to go through with this."
Mm-hmm.
Dad.
Yeah, Dad.
hey, Dad.
How have things been, Dad? That's great, Dad.
You are my dad. Did you know you are my dad?
Yeah, I cut my hair at camp, Dad.
I think I get it. It's a Disney movie. Obviously, they're not like the parents are gonna have like nice houses. How funny would it have been if one of them wasn't super rich and like was just like living in like a 1-bed apartment?
In my notes, Connor.
Yeah.
In my notes.
Oh,
I wrote down, I was like, why is everyone so rich? But then I was like, could you imagine if like Annie's family, like the mom was super rich, but the dad was living in a 1-bedroom apartment in downtown LA.
He was like in a trailer park.
In a trailer park.
It's
And
a
she shows
garbage
up like,
man.
what the fuck is this?
that
Oh my god, that would have been so
that'd
funny.
be a great little short film, just like, and then just cut contact immediately, like, tricked you.
Oh my god. I also wrote in my notes too, because like you get like the first shots of a fairly young Dennis Quaid like compared to how old he is now. I was like, how do you divorce that man? Like, look at him.
Yeah.
Then I realized that Dennis Quaid's a little problematic, and then I was like, I get it.
He did give us Jack, so
Especially when he was on the horse with his cowboy hat and.
Oh my God! It was like, dude.
yeah, it's like,
how do you divorce that?
I watched it with Kayla, and when we first, well, not when we first, but when we meet Meredith, I think this may be in the next section, but when Annie talks to her and she's like, "Oh, how old are you?" She's like, 26. Kayla looked at me. She's like, "I'm fucking 26. I don't look that good."
They're doing some ends with us. It's like, no, she's
they are a little bit.
She's like 40 or
yeah.
Well, to be honest, she does not look like 26.
No, not at all. I watched this with Em, and the first things that she said as soon as they made the switch, she looks at me and goes, "How are they going to get back? Like, what's their plan here at the end of the day? Like, yeah, they want to get them kind of back together, but like initially, it was like, what's the plan? Like, you're going to eventually have to come clean. Like, what are we doing?" Because at that point, it was.
Well, it's kind of a win.
Well, at that point too, it was, and at that point too, like they didn't know that the dad was seeing someone new. Like their plan was literally just like go there and spend as much time as possible before the secret gets out, I guess.
Well, yeah,
and then what?
They wanted to see what each other parent was like, and then at the same time, at the proper time, they would
just plant the seeds to set up a reunion.
They would do that, and then they would have to meet again.
Yep.
Yeah, because it was like
fair enough.
Like the worst case is, oh, they're caught now. They have to take me to the airport, and
send me back.
Yeah, send me back, and
yeah. All right, fair enough. Do we want to roll to the next section?
Sure. I don't think I have any more thoughts on that. After Chessie notices changes in Hallie's behavior, Annie confesses her identity to her, and Chessie agrees to keep it a secret from Nick. While on the phone with Annie discussing Nick's impending wedding to Meredith, Hallie is caught by Charles, who encourages her to tell Elizabeth the truth, which is what we were saying, this is what would happen if the secret falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
After doing so, Elizabeth and Hallie decide to travel to California to establish joint custody of the twins between each parent. The twins, with the help of Martin and Chessie, arrange for a meeting between Nick and Elizabeth at the Stafford Hotel in California. Upon reuniting with Elizabeth, Nick learns that he has had Annie with him since the end of camp, though he is delighted by this. Elizabeth also meets Meredith and learns of her engagement with Nick.
Let's just say,
one of my favorite. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Martin is the GOAT.
Oh yeah,
Martin's great.
I love Martin.
All the side
Martin's
characters.
Awesome. I love Chessie. Yeah,
Chessie's awesome too. Oh yeah,
all those auxiliary characters are really solid.
Even the grandfather.
Yeah,
he did great. It was great too.
So my favorite line in this movie, my absolute favorite, and it was the scene that you were talking about, Sam, where Meredith was like, "Oh, I'm 26, whatever." That same scene when she's like doing like, "Oh, you're old enough to be whatever," like you're old enough to be my sister, blah blah, and he goes, "Oh," and Dennis Quaid goes, "Oh, suddenly you're so interested in math," like trying to move her away from that. It's like suddenly you're so interested in math. It's just something about that delivery of that line was so funny.
Oh yeah.
I love the line.
He's like, "Oh, how old are you? You're 26. Oh, how old are you, Dad? 45?" And he's like, "Oh, suddenly you're so interested in math."
I love the line when he's like trying to break it to her, like, how would you feel about her joining the family? She's like, "I've always wanted a sister." Like, Dad,
I've always wanted a big sister.
You're adopting her?
Good.
You can just see the disappointment on his face. He's like,
it's like, why does your brain even go there?
Yeah. I appreciate how the nanny and the butler, who obviously spend so much more time with the children, pick up on the fact that they're not who they say they are pretty much immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can
like
see
they
Chessie,
know.
Yeah,
Chessie knows, and Martin figures it out very fast. But I think one of the failures of this movie that comes into play here, we spend way too much time comparatively with Hallie and Dennis Quaid than we do with Annie and Dennis Quaid than we do with Hallie and her mom. Like, there is a lot more, and I get it. Like, that's where the main conflict is coming from for this part of the movie. But I really wanted to see more time of Hallie getting to spend time with her mom, because it was really comparatively only a couple scenes, whereas like the whole middle section of this movie is in California.
I feel
I've never really thought about that, but I again, like the main conflict is with like Meredith and stuff like that. But
I felt like a lot of the more emotional scenes were with Elizabeth and Hallie.
Yeah.
So I feel like where it lacked in quantity, maybe it made up for it with quality.
I can see that.
That could be.
I think the when she took her to the bridal,
The photo shoot.
That was a good scene.
That was a good scene. Worst photos being taken though.
Which I think
awful.
I think they wrote her character well too, because you see too often like, oh, the parents too involved with work, like I don't have time for this child kind of thing. And then, you know, she actually wants to bring her along, and she actually wants to do things with her kid. So,
speaking of that, like, it kind of goes back to the last section that we talked about. But how do you not know that the day that your daughter is coming back from camp? Like, how do you not know that? Like, she literally comes into the house, she's like, hello. I was like, oh, you're back? It's like, she's been gone for 8 weeks. You should know this. You should know the date and time that this poor girl is coming back.
But see, I feel like that's kind of why Martin and Chessie were the first to realize, because I think that was the whole point of having a butler and a nanny, is those are the people who are spending more time with your kid. That's just the nature of it. You're busy running a vineyard or running the most popular wedding gown business in England.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good touch.
Is this the section? Yeah. Is this the section where we get to them at the hotel, like the resort or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Yes.
You said.
Do we start to? Okay. I'm not gonna lie. This section, it starts to lose me when we hit the hotel a little bit. Just because I think the runtime of the movie starts to catch up with itself. In this area, there was a point where, and I think where we're at right now, right at the end of this, is they finally, like, they have this whole, like, Dennis Quaid sees Elizabeth in the hotel, like in the elevator, and then they all have this meeting at the pool. It's like they finally meet for the first time in the movie, and they're all together, whatever, which is nice. But then I realized there's still 40 minutes left in the movie.
Yeah. And
I was like, holy shit, what? There's 40 minutes left? Like, it was jarring to me that how much time was left in the movie, because it felt like it was getting to the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I've as much as like the nostalgia glasses were on, there were times like I was like, all right, I need to like do something else real quick, because like, and when I would like pause it, I'm like, I'm only halfway done.
Yeah, it really, this middle section of the movie is very dragged out. Like, for me, the perfect movie for this would have been if they cut out the camping stuff at the end, moved all of the pranks and stuff like that from that section into the hotel piece, and expanded on the camping at the beginning, and shortened that middle section a bit. That would have made this movie absolutely perfect to me. Because the way it is, it just feels too long. There's too much going on.
Yeah. Or like wait for the hotel stuff at the end kind of thing. I don't know.
Right. Like, the hotel should have been the end of the movie.
Yeah, I feel like
I get they wanted to be together to try to like get them together. I just think, well, I know we'll get to the camping stuff, but I'll just save it to then.
Yeah, I have in my notes too, like, this could, if maybe in my head I just remember this as like 2 movies. It's like we have the camping, and then we have everything else. And like you're saying, I feel like the movie could have been better if it's like, here's 40 minutes of the camping, here's 40 minutes of them like spending time with like their parent, them realizing this is not my kid, and then having to set up like that meeting, and then you have the ending of like essentially what happens at the hotel and the camping.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. That said, though, I mean, the when they finally do all get back together at the hotel and like they have this whole scheme and whatever, and that you get that family reunion, that moment is great. I loved it. It's again another really emotional beat that's similar to the bonding in the isolation cabin, which is still wild to me that they had an isolation cabin at this summer camp.
God. It's a good thing that was.
Well, it was.
Actually, no,
Go ahead,
I'm not even gonna say it's a good thing that it's like a girls only camp because things happen.
Yeah, things happen.
But also just huge safety hazard.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Go ahead, Sam.
That's one thing I wanted to bring up is the entire camp hikes to the isolation cabin, and then she's like, "Oh, you guys can just go back to your daily activities."
I would have been pissed. I was like, "What?" I would have been like, "Hey, ma'am, why the fuck did we come out here?"
And it's not even. It was like that. It was far away too.
Like a 3-mile hike.
Yeah,
uphill both ways.
And then the counselors are like, "Yeah, you guys, all you children, go through the woods back to the camp. We're gonna stay here." Like, oh my god, liability. Anyways,
yeah, when they meet in the hotel, I like the setup of like the elevators, opening, closing. I like that. I thought it was cute. And then we have Dennis Quaid almost falling out of his damn shoes.
Yeah. And then they meet at the pool, and it works.
Nice 10-second fall from him, where everyone has a chance to say, "Dad," or "Nick," or "Oh."
Yep. And I one of the things I gotta acknowledge too, there was an extra in this movie. When Elizabeth is tending to Nick while he's laying down, she's like, "Oh, do you have a med kit here? Like, do you have?" And she's like, "Yes, let me go get one." There's whatever the line was. It was like this extra was ready to deliver that line. That was her career maker right there. It's like, "Yes, I will get you a medkit."
But hey, we talked.
And then she comes back. "Here you go.
Here you are."
Listen, we talk about it. You know, Aaron Mackey gets no lines. You have an extra. You get one shot to say words on
You
camera.
get one shot at it.
Make the most of it.
She's gonna make it count. I bet you the director too, Nancy Walsh, was probably like,
Turn it down.
"All right, can we run it back? Can we run it back and like maybe a little bit less on the background actors, please? Thank you."
They're probably like, "I don't even fucking care. Just keep going."
Yeah, probably. Oh man. All right. Do we want to move to the next section?
Sure.
Is this the last section?
Now we got 2 more.
Okay.
Like the movie, this middle part does drag a bit. Annie and Hallie, with Chessie and Martin's help, attempt to recreate the night their parents met by arranging dinner on a yacht. Nick and Elizabeth discuss their breakup, which occurred when Elizabeth ran off after a fight, secretly hoping Nick would follow her. They agreed on shared custody, but decide against resuming the relationship. Elizabeth plans to fly back to London with Annie the next day, but the twins refuse to reveal which one is which unless the entire family takes a camping trip. Elizabeth insists that Meredith go in her place so that she can become acquainted with the twins before marrying Nick.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'm being honest, I didn't care for this entire. I mean, this whole section, I was like, you can get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's all like backstory stuff that's like kind of important to the overall story, but
Then
at the same time, I mean, the explanation of like the parents divorced. Okay, got it. That's all I need to know.
I think it was kind of needed, but not as drawn out as it was.
It was very drawn out. I mean, they had this whole like dinner planned, and then they talk and whatever, and then the talk, and then they decide, oh, we're gonna do whatever, and then the girls are like, you can't, I won't go home. You don't know which one is which. Which at that point, it's like,
I like that.
Okay,
I did like that.
Or maybe like they should have like gotten the girls together and like both of them explained to both of them like what happened and this is XY, but whatever.
Yeah. It was just long again. It just added to the long runtime of the movie, which was, fine. But yeah, we could have cut back a little bit on it.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I do like that the poll that Elizabeth does on Meredith of like, yeah, come along with us. We'll go camping with us. You'll get to know the girls. And then as soon as she gets on the street, like, all right, see you later.
Nope, see ya.
Goodbye.
Like,
I don't want to go camping. What are you, nuts?
I feel like she was in on it, right?
Had to be.
Had to be, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everyone was.
Yeah. At that point, I mean, you kind of you see who that kind of person is. I mean, they had that interaction a little bit earlier in the movie at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see how fucking awful Meredith is.
Oh yeah,
how
she was
terrible.
like, oh, the second I signed the certificate, that bitch is off to Sweden.
Yeah, it's like, okay. But I mean, honestly, this part of the movie, I was like, it was losing me. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else got any thoughts here? Or do we want to move to the last part?
Yeah, we can wrap this.
All right, let's wrap it.
All right, on the trip, the twins play a series of pranks on Meredith, including putting a lizard on her head and putting her sleeping, I guess it was a mattress, in the middle of a lake, leading to her furiously demanding that Nick choose between her or them. Finally seeing Meredith's true nature, Nick breaks up with her. After the camping trip, Nick and Elizabeth realize that they are still in love but decide to go their separate ways, each with the twin that they have respective custody of. When Elizabeth and Annie arrive back in London, they find Nick and Hallie, who took a faster flight. Nick says that he does not want to make the same mistake of not going after Elizabeth, and they share a kiss. The end credits reveal that Elizabeth and Nick have gotten remarried with Hallie and Annie as their bridesmaids, and also Chessie and Martin have gotten engaged. One of the better
Yay.
subplots going on.
Yeah.
Is their blossoming romance.
And who said that? And the MCU invented post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
The Parent Trap did it 10 years earlier.
Yeah, I know Martin and Chessie were freaks. There was
there
was nothing
dude.
respect. His bathing suit.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then her meeting him in his bathing suit was like, hello.
Yeah.
Speaking French to her and stuff.
Oh yeah.
There was some chains and whips going on in that bedroom, let me just say.
Listen, he might have spoke French, but he could have been speaking Australian to her later that night, if you know what I mean.
That was a good one. That was a thinker, but I like it. This is the part of the movie where I want to acknowledge how good of an antagonist Meredith is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, acting wise, especially, she's portrayed incredibly well to be the most unlikable person on the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I honestly, I started feeling bad for her. Just like
she was getting fucked.
They like, well, when they put the lizard on her head, girl, don't open your mouth. Like, you can scream.
Oh yeah, that was disgusting.
As it's working its way down, close or swat. Don't scream.
Right. Get it off of you.
Yeah, because then it just falls into her mouth and she sucks it off.
Okay.
Well, like Chessie did.
I will say though, man, those they do a lot of pranks on Meredith. Like there's a few too many pranks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there were more pranks on Meredith than there were at the summer camp.
Yeah, because they put rocks in her bag. Like, that's what they're doing.
They put rocks in her bag. They did lizards.
They did
They
gave
did
her
the
like
sugar and
water and sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, so
They told her like they told her mountain lions that sticks.
The best one is though that they put her out into the water.
Yeah.
Oh my
That
gosh.
was pretty good.
honestly though, I would be out too. Like I don't care about money.
Yeah.
If I end up,
How did Dennis Quaid not wake up during that?
You know, that's a great question because I was thinking, how did she not wake up? But then I realized she took a sleeping pill and was definitely not waking up.
Yeah.
But that's a very good point. How did he not? What is he doing?
that's why I think they're all in on it. I think he was like, oh, thank God.
Probably.
Respectfully, I'm not going to try to make assumptions, but I think he probably would have been happy if she drowned.
Oh, probably. I mean, you say that it makes sense now too because one of the things I appreciate the most about this movie is how when she gives him the ultimatum of like, you have to choose me or the girls, there's no like drawn out like who's he gonna pick situation. He is immediately like, well, it's the girls. Like, get fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
There's no
gonna
like,
go back to my
let's
hot
talk about
ex-wife.
this.
Yeah, right.
My rich hot ex-wife
Like-
too.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
is zero hesitation.
And he just smiles when he says it too. He's like, them.
THE.
This is my kids. Like, I don't know what the fuck you thought was gonna happen. Like, I birthed these people. I'm not. Who cares about you?
Mhm. I do love too that they just show up back to the house without her. Like,
I know.
I know that they
Did
probably
they
just
leave that bitch.
I know that they probably just dropped her off somewhere, but I love the idea that they were just like, have fun.
See ya.
Where's
Take an
Meredith? They come back. Where's Meredith?
Get an Uber.
And we never see her again for the rest of the film.
Nope, she's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, we hit the ending. It's a nice, happy ending. All is well.
Mhm.
I like it. It works. It works.
Oh yeah.
All right. Anyone have any other notes before we go to our scores for this movie?
Nope.
All right. So now that we've wrapped up the film, we got to talk about our individual scores for different aspects of this film. We start off with the acting. Connor, why don't you tell us about how you thought about the acting in this movie?
Thought it was really good. And honestly, I could talk about how all the side characters are great, but really it comes down to how good Lindsay Lohan is in her debut film role, playing two completely different characters. Not just like, oh, I have to be like a snob versus like a recluse. No, I have to be an American versus a Brit. So I have to do all
that's
that
tough.
while doing an accent too. So
Mm-hmm.
movie's not nearly as memorable if she is half as good. So I gave it a 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. 4.5, and it's solely. I mean, the auxiliary characters are great. Like Lisa Ann Walters as Chessie is one of my favorite characters in this movie. And everyone else is really solid, but man, Lindsay Lohan takes this to another level. To be able to debut and have this much of a challenging role and to just nail it like she did, incredible. So 4.5 for me as well.
Yeah, there's nothing else much I can say. You guys both covered it. I also gave it a 4.5. I also think just all the side characters and everybody was just phenomenal. So,
yeah. So next we got the story concept. Sam, what did you feel about the story and concept here?
I really like it. I don't think it was too like typical and like straightforward. I think they did throw in some tweaks, and I guess I've seen this movie so many times. I always see like the quote unquote twists coming.
Yeah.
But I give it a 4 out of 5. Not much I would change. I think I would change a couple things with the camp situation, but that's pretty much it.
Connor, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that like the story itself is very unique, very memorable too. Even though like obviously it's a remake. And I just feel like it's one where I probably haven't seen it in 10-ish years. I can still pretty much give you every major plot point. I forgot to mention it while we were doing the thing, but why did it take them so long to realize that they are more than likely related when they look identical?
Yeah, that was gonna ask that.
It's like
this is a little.
They need to hear all of, like the stars aligning. Like, oh, like I don't have a dad. Oh, I don't have a mom. Here's our picture. It's like, hey, look in a mirror.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, it's a good story. I gave it a 4.
Yeah, I mean, I was just slightly lower than that. I gave it a 3.5. I think, for overall, I mean, like you said, the story's unique, even though it's based on it was an adaptation of an earlier work. It's still pretty unique. Was the focus in some areas of the movie a bit misguided? Sure. There should have been more camping scenes. There should have been less drawn out stuff in the middle. I can forgive all that. It's still pretty solid, so I gave it a 3.5. Next, we got the writing, which I will kick off. This was, for me, the weakest part of the movie. Purely because, I know I've explained it already, but the back half of the movie is a lot weaker than the front half. And especially the last 50 minutes is just really drawn out and started to lose me. There are some really good one-liners, and I don't think it was awful. But it was pretty much right down the middle for me. It's just totally average, so I gave it a 2.5.
All right. I'm definitely
Sam, what about you? Or Connor, whoever who wants to go. Anyone go. It's anyone's game here on Jeopardy. What?
I'll go.
All right.
I'll go. So yeah, I can agree with that. I think the entire movie was written well. I just think they got the order mixed up and wrong. I think if they switched around a couple things in the movie, I think it would work perfectly. But I think everything was written really well. The main thing I have was a couple of the dialogue and scenes, and it was kind of like not cringy, but just not really. I think towards the beginning I could notice that. I give it a 3.5, but I also agree it was the one of the weaker parts of the movie. So
yeah, and to your point too, I just want to say I agree. I think the dialogue itself was good. I didn't really have much of a problem with the dialogue. It was the structure of the story and how that was written that I had the most issues with.
Yeah, I'm right there with both of you. In the sense that the dialogue, definitely, I had no qualms with it. I definitely enjoyed a lot of the emotional scenes, how they were given. But pacing was definitely off. I feel like they could have balanced it a lot better. Not even just with the summer camp, but just the scenes when they're back in their respective houses. Just more lead up to the big conflicts from both sides. I gave it a 3.5. Again, I've seen this with like rose-colored glasses, so it should be a bit worse, but like I still really enjoy it. So
yeah. And then we've got the visuals. So Connor, why don't you talk to us about the visuals?
There's 2 Lindsay Lohans. Like that. They did that. No, it's so cool. Everything shot on location. Napa Valley, that's sick as hell to see in a movie, just because it's so expansive. So much just outdoor space you can use that's not just a vineyard. Like obviously they go camping and they make the most of all the areas that they have. The summer camp looks great. Gave it a 4.5.
Wow. Yeah, I was pretty far lower on that. I thought the locations were great. I know I talked about how being practical is really, really important. I mean, visually for me, it was, aside from the 2 Lindsay Lohans, it was pretty cut and dry. There wasn't a ton that really made it stand out, aside from the fact that there were 2 Lindsay Lohans, which like brings it to above average for me based on just solely that fact. So I gave it a 3 out of 5.
All right. I'm kind of with more leaning towards Connor with this one. Again, 2 Lindsay Lohans, can't go wrong.
It tricked us into thinking that
it's
they
impressive.
were twin, like actually twins.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Like I said before, like when I was younger, I literally thought there was 2 actors that looked exactly alike, but then I quickly realized that. But I really love the scenes in California, and the summer camp. One thing I did want to bring up too is the scenes where so in the beginning when they split up, it's all like sunny, shiny, whatnot, happy summer days or whatnot. So when they move back to, when Elizabeth and Annie move back to England, it's raining, and it's raining in California. It's raining and gloomy in England. Yeah. And I just noticed that it's like, it kind of goes with the mood of and the emotions of how it feels. So I also gave it a 4.5.
All right. And that's going to bring us to our final score for this movie, which is the enjoyment score. This is also the most important score because this is our overall feelings about the movie. So, Connor, why don't you kick us off with your overall score here?
So, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. I give this a 4.5 because the feelings that the movie like brought back. This is why I feel like just averaging up the scores doesn't make a ton of sense for just enjoyment, because there's no way you can like categorize in like acting the feeling of watching Lindsay Lohan do her handshake or hearing "This Could Be Everlasting Love" just over like the established shots. Like it just takes me back to being back in my old house in my den watching this movie with my sisters, like happier times, didn't know what debt was or anything about the economy and politics, just happy times. And like the movie, does it have flaws? Absolutely. Pacing's off, and some lines are a little cringy, but like just pure enjoyment is off the charts for me. Like this is one that I will hope to be able to show my kids when I have the chance. So 4.5.
Well said. Well said.
Well said. Yeah,
thank you.
For sure. For me, I like, again, when we do these reviews, I take a more analytical approach to my final score, averaging up the numbers. And I have on occasion proved that I can boost my scores up when they deserve.
Yeah.
Grown-ups.
Sharknado.
No, grown-ups, whatever. But I did do it for Sharknado, and I did do it for Chef. But I feel like here, when you add up all of my scores and you average it out, it gives a pretty good summation of how I feel about this movie. Yes, I had issues with it. Yes, it lost me a bit in the back half. But it's still an above average movie that I really enjoyed. And I don't have that nostalgia that you guys have about this movie. I'd only ever really seen it once or twice in my life. So it really, I feel like my score kind of sums that up, and it's still a solid score. It's a 3.375.
Jesus Christ.
Again, like we've said, I'm right there with Connor with this movie. I think I was, 6 years old when I first saw this movie. What my parents showed me. And I've seen it like, it's like almost like a yearly watch for me. Like if I would just want to sit down and watch a feel good movie, I'll turn this movie on. It is just a nostalgia ride. It's just overall fun movie, and yeah. So I'll give it a 4.4.
4.4. All right. So that is going to bring this movie's average to a 4.09, which when you put that into our magical sheet of movies that we've watched for this podcast, that's number 7 on the list, boys. Number 7. We cracked the top 10. We are we feel 0.02 points higher on The Parent Trap than we do about Chef. So,
And we knocked Grown Ups off the top 10.
and Grown Ups is no longer in the top 10. So take that with what you will. But yeah, so 4.09 for The Parent Trap. So that's gonna do it for this episode. If you like what you listen to, subscribe, share it with your friends, leave a rating on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us out. Lets us know we're doing a good job, and lets us know that you like what we're doing, like what you're listening to. You can check us out on Twitter at FilmboxPod, and you can check me out on Twitter and on TikTok. Those will be linked in the show notes below. You can check out our website, pressplaymag.com, for new reviews of movies. You can read my It Ends With Us review, my scathing It Ends With Us review, and figure out if that's even a movie that you want to watch this weekend. And you can see all of our other movie reviews too. And follow us on Letterboxd. Those will be linked in the show notes below as well, where you can see what we've been watching when we watch them. You don't have to wait for each episode to come out to know what we've been watching. And you can follow along as Connor watches like 8 billion movies a week.
Aaron, your closing remarks are like the middle third of this movie.
Just
long.
Yeah, they do go a little long. It's all right. It's all right. I gotta talk about everything, man. I gotta talk about everything. But yeah, so obviously before we wrap up every episode, we gotta talk to Connor about what movies he's gonna be watching this week.
So
Connor,
again, if you didn't hear it last time, instead of just picking 2 of 5 or 6 movies, I have a list of 14 movies now that I'm gonna watch, and they're just gonna pick the order. So, gents, pick a number 1 through 14.
let's go with number 9 for me.
Let's go number 4.
All right, we're doing Secret Life of Walter Mitty and Punch Drunk Love.
Ooh.
Ooh, good movies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, find out next week what Connor thought about those movies, and we'll see you next time on the Filmbox Podcast.
Cheerio.